Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to our podcast.
Sophia is already in a bad mood. So I thought this episode could be kind of talking about work pet peeves and student life pet peeves. But I know Sophia wants to ramble and vent stuff, so she can start now.
Yeah, it's not really limited to my working place now because it's happened everywhere I've gone. But I think it's
Yeah.
just like the stupidest thing in the world, and I don't even know. And I want to say it out loud to let everyone know don't do this.
So
It
I
will
haven't
piss
heard
me
this
off.
story yet either. So I'm gonna listen along with everyone else for the
Oh
first
my
time.
god. Okay. Like, what I'm talking about now isn't just to where I work. It happens everywhere, but it's just annoying because
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, people are now booking like quite last minute bookings rather than booking
Makes sense.
ahead.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, they book ahead is because they get like those special rates. If you book ahead, you get a
Yeah.
much cheaper rate, but it's you can't cancel or get a refund on your booking.
Mm-hmm.
And there's ones that are like flexible where you can cancel like 48 hours or 24 hours before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are like trying to get a cheaper rate, but they still want to book like
In advance.
no, not in advance. They want to book like last minute, like super super last minute, but they still want a
But get
cheap
it.
rate.
So they want it as the rate as you would have gotten if you booked it in advance,
Yeah.
but book it closer to when they would
Yeah.
travel.
But then what people got to understand is that a lot of times the dates that you're looking for is the dates that everyone else is looking for. Because
Mm-hmm.
by Murphy's Law, normally when one person wants to travel, it's like an entire fleet of a nation wants to travel. So
Yeah.
probably you're not the only person that wants to travel on that day, right? Totally
Yeah.
understandable.
You're never alone. Yeah.
So this has happened to me multiple times, not just here, in every single place I've worked. They'll be like, they'll call up and they'll be like, oh, do you have rooms available? Let's say, like, for this date, right? And they'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, sorry, we're full, right? And then the two kind of answers I get is, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's terrible for me. Or, oh, how come you're full? I'm like,
It's like, how come you're full?
if
It's like, well,
someone
I didn't book all the
if someone
rooms.
tells you you're fully booked, there's no like
There's
reason.
no way around
Yeah,
it.
like if you're full, you're full. But then
Yeah.
they're just like trying to be like, how come you guys are full? Why? Well, that's terrible. I'm well,
It's
yes,
not
you're
my
trying to
problem.
book like let's say on a graduation date when everyone's graduating from uni and you're booking now for like 2 weeks later. So like,
Yeah, like so the thing is in when I was in college too, the graduation dates are like kind of set. You know approximately around when you're going to have
yeah.
like, commencements or graduation. So people book that date like a year in
Yeah.
advance. Like if you know like that time is coming where it's like your final year of like university or college or whatever,
Yeah.
like people who obviously have to like fly in,
Mhm.
like they book it like a year in advance. It's not like an uncommon thing,
Like,
especially if it's like a high volume date or a known date that people travel.
I don't know if COVID is like making things a bit rushed and last minute, but it like normally you'd go, oh, I see, like, oh, maybe I left it too late. All right, thank you, right? And then,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then people, what their response is, like, it's my fault that we're full and we don't have rooms for them.
Yeah, like it's like the saying, they're shooting the messenger. You're just the one letting them know that it's full and they're like attacking you for like no reason.
Well,
Which I feel like it's really stupid.
well, the thing is, I can't go build another room for them. You know,
Yeah,
it's
like
not like, oh wait,
what
you
what
want a
can you
room? Like
do?
building a room, like I can't do that.
Yeah. Like the thing I don't understand is people who say stuff like this, how stupid are you? You know? Because the thing is, I also tried to book a trip during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and because the hotels weren't as functional,
Yeah.
my friend and I decided to book like an Airbnb, right? And during like the weekend before we were supposed to go on that trip, the place that I'm in was now considered a red zone, and you were not allowed to travel to other places, right? So we had to cancel our trip. So we had to cancel like our train ticket, and we had to cancel like our Airbnb. And it says clearly in the terms of service, like if you book anytime, if you made a booking anytime after a certain date, you would not get like a full refund because you chose to book somewhere with the consequences of traveling during the pandemic,
Yeah.
right? So when I canceled my trip, I actually didn't see that terms of service beforehand. So I contacted the person that I was booking the apartment with, and I told the person like, "Hey, we're gonna have to cancel because of the red zone lockdown, whatever. Is there a formal way I have to submit this process for a refund or whatever?" And he told me that, because it's during like a certain date, past a certain date that you made your booking, you wouldn't get like a full refund. I think we got like a 50% refund,
Yeah.
so not like the whole price. And then I was kind of mad. I was like, yeah, I don't get the full refund. But I did my research and looked why I didn't get a full refund. And it shows that, because of the pandemic, if you book it over a certain date, like you won't get it because you chose to book it during a freaking pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was fine with it. I made that choice to book it. And if I canceled it, I'm paying the consequences of trying to travel during a pandemic. Like, I was hoping, fingers crossed, when I booked that trip, by that time it would have not been red zone. So we would have been out of the red zone by then.
Yeah.
But people are stupid, so it wasn't like out of the red zone. So we had to cancel. But I didn't get frustrated at like Airbnb. I didn't get frustrated at the apartment owner because it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no one to blame. That's why I don't get why people who complain like that, like, what kind of logic they have in their head.
Yeah. And then something like it doesn't apply to where I'm working now because it doesn't like work that way. But another thing is, I live in like the places that I work are in complete city center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say car park spacing wise, car park in the city is tight.
It's always limited.
Yeah, and because it's inside a building, the ceilings are a bit low.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I would have guests like check in, check out, and they'd be like, "You need to do something about your car park. Like, it's so tight and narrow, and the ceilings are low." And I'm like,
It's like, okay, so do you want me to just uproot and lift the whole building up? Like, I don't understand. See, that's what I don't get. Why do people say stuff that you have no freaking control over?
I don't know. Maybe they feel like if they tell it to me, I'm gonna do something about it, but I literally
Yeah.
can't do anything about it.
It's like people telling me, like, oh, you're so short. Why don't you grow taller? Like, if I could, I would, but I don't have that choice.
Yeah, and
So why are you telling me something I can't do?
and like if you're coming into the city, I wouldn't bring a massive four-wheel drive truck and try to park like,
Yeah.
because city car parks are already tight enough as it is.
They're tight because they have to conserve space.
And there's also a height restriction on a lot of these
Yeah.
places.
And if there is a height restriction, it's always written anyway, so it's your choice to drive through somewhere that has a height restriction.
Yeah, sometimes like I just don't understand what kind of logic people are using to
They have no logic.
complain about these things, because if it was
Yeah.
something like, oh, my room has like a smell, or the bedding, like I can't
That
sleep
is
in this kind of
fixable.
bed. If it's something I can fix, I can fix. But if it's
Yeah,
something
but
like
you
a
can't
building,
fix the building.
yeah, like I can't fix a building. I can't raise a roof on a parking lot. Like that's just not something
So
I can
it's like
do.
it's like basically me walking up to a random stranger and be like, "Oh my god, my car broke." It's like, what's that person gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I really don't understand how stupid some people are. I don't know if it's just people who are lacking social IQ, or if they're just generally that stupid.
Like, it's like if I went into a restaurant and be like, your interior design is freaking awful.
Sucks.
Like, you need to do
Yeah.
something about it. I'm like, well, then,
And the waiter doesn't give a crap. She's like, I'm just here to make money. Like, I don't care what the interior design
I
looks
mean,
like.
if you have a problem about that place, don't come back.
Yeah. So there's always those people who go like, oh my God, you just lost a loyal customer. And I'm like, the people who are working there, who you're interacting with, they don't care if you come
If
back.
you were a really loyal customer, it wouldn't be like that. Like, you wouldn't be
And if
like
you
that.
were a really loyal customer, you would have found a different way to convey the message, I feel like.
Yeah, like,
You could have either said like, oh, well, if it was something that was really restricting, whatever you're trying to do, like pretend if you were someone who uses a wheelchair to move around and there isn't like accessibility. That makes sense, right? That is something that you can
yeah.
respectfully complain about and say, hey, it's not accessible to everyone. But like stupid stuff like, oh my God, the parking ceiling is too low. It's like, sorry, lady, I'm not Thanos, and I can't just snap the building to disappear and then rebuild it. Like, I don't understand where people like that come from.
No. And, like,
Like, so when I was in college, I also worked at the food court for undergraduates,
yeah.
right? So I worked at this job for less than a semester and then I had to quit because I could not take the freaking stupidity of all these freshmen. So the school that I went to, well, a lot of schools in the states, like they really like to support, college football, right? That's one of the biggest sports that
Yeah.
lots of people watch. So our school had a football stadium, so a lot of freshmen, college experience, buy like the season tickets and go watch the football game. Fine, I'm not a big football fan. I didn't buy the season tickets. So kids would go to like the football game and then they would come back and obviously you're starving because you're chanting and riling up for like 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
So they all come back to this food court. So the food court that I worked at was basically you submit your order on a computer and it was only like sandwiches and like grills, so like hamburger, fries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you can choose like what bread you want, like what toppings you want,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would get processed and it would show up on our screen, and we fill up the food, and then someone would wrap it and then call the order number.
Yeah.
So it's basically just like an audit, like Subway, but more people. So on a really, really, really empty day, anything that you order on the grill, so whether it's cheesesteaks or like a hamburger or anything of those sorts, you're guaranteed to wait at least 15 minutes because that's how long it takes for it to cook.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting cooked meat on it, you're putting raw meat. So obviously it's going to take longer to cook than if you got like, a ham sandwich, which you just toast it and it's done. So there's like a mob of like 75 to 100 freshmen and they're all ordering stuff from the grill. I'm like, first of all, why are you ordering something that takes forever when there's 75 people? Don't even get me started on that topic. So like people are ordering stuff on the grill. I'm like, that's fine. If you want to wait the hour and a half, like go ahead, right? So someone comes up to me, well, because I think no one was at the order counter where you give the orders out. So I was just there. That wasn't my position, but I just had to fill it because no one was there. So someone comes up to me and he's like, hey, I haven't gotten my order. Like, where is it in the lineup? And I was like, oh, well, can you tell me your order number? Then I can find it where it is on the list, right? So he tells me his order number. He ordered something on the grill 5 minutes ago, and he's already asking me where his food is. And I was like, I was already fed up at that point because I had to deal with stupid ass freshmen who are like, oh my God, I'm so cool. I watch college football. So I was like, do you see the amount of people that are in this like food court? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, so if you think a minimum of 10 minutes per order, do you think yours would have been done in the past 5 minutes? And then he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, use your freaking brain, dude. Like, you live here. You know how long it takes to get food off the grill, but you still have the audacity to come up and ask, where's my order when you ordered it 5 minutes ago? And I'm like, does your brain like just disintegrate over time? Like, I don't understand where people get that like logic from. Like I can't. I really wonder why some people lack so much social IQ.
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I'm in the wrong industry and I just set up my life this way, you know?
When I worked that job, that's the first time I worked serving people, like dealing with
Yeah.
people. And from that experience alone, I was like, screw this. I'm never doing any job like this ever
Yeah. And
again.
I've been doing
Because
this for years.
yeah, like I can't imagine how you've stayed in like the hospitality and like, people service. But I could not. I did that for like 4 months and then I like quit.
The-
Because I was a good worker. I was efficient because I got nominated, like, because we have this employee of the week
Mhm.
system. And throughout the whole, like, 3-4 months I've worked there, I've got that nomination, like, probably every week almost. Because I'm a good worker. I know if someone's lacking here, I'll, like, fill the spot. Or if something's moving slowly, you can pick up these things, like, as you work.
Yeah.
You know which spots you have to fill, what has to be sped up, what has to be communicated better. So I can see like how stuff works and I can like fit in like just fine. But it's just the dealing with the stupid freshmen. I think that's what ticked me off the most. Like, yes, I get it. You're a free adult and you can do whatever the hell you want, but please stop being stupid. Like, that's yeah. The service industry is something that's so freaking insane and stressful. I have to give mad props to people who stay in that industry because like when I go out to eat, so I was talking with people at work about this too, but when I go out to eat and you're done eating, right? Obviously the waitresses will come, take the plates out. So for me as a consumer, I know how crappy it is to work in that industry. So I try to do my best to make their job easier. So I'll stack like all the plates up into one pile so they don't have to, come clean the table. And I'll put like the cutlery on the plate so it doesn't like slip off so they can just pick it up. And like we'll put all the food scraps to like one plate. Like we do stuff like that just to make their life like a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And like talking to other people, I've never heard or seen someone do this before, but apparently one of the people in my workplace, when they worked at a restaurant, people would spit out gum, which fine, like I usually spit out gum on a napkin, but they would spit out gum and put it under the plate.
That's so rude.
So that is already purposely hiding
You
it, right?
should
Because
go
you're putting it
back and
underneath.
stick it on their forehead.
Exactly. So like they picked it up. First of all, it's freaking disgusting if you touch it and pretend you didn't notice it was there, and you put it in the dishwasher. That thing's gonna get everywhere. You know what I mean? So I see like incidents like this happen everywhere, and I really truly wonder why people are so crappy like this. Because I think when I go out to eat, I'm not that disrespectful. I try to be the best that I can to at least make their lives a little bit easier. So I don't know their thought process of people who are like such dicks, to people who are working in the service industry.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not really sure the logic behind it, but like people who haven't worked, they just don't know, like in
Don't
that
know.
industry.
Exactly.
But then you also have to think, like if your child or someone in your family works in that kind of industry, you should know like to be a bit more mindful because
Exactly.
like in the end everyone knows someone, right?
Yeah.
And I just think it's better to be a bit mindful of
So,
everyone.
yeah, for me, initially I was already like, try to minimize their workload.
Yeah.
But I think ever since you started working in the service industry, I became a lot more mindful of what, are just a bit more inconvenient for the servers or, like will make their day a little bit easier. Like, that was already before I worked in the industry.
Yeah.
But just like in general, I try to be a bit more polite. But after you started working, I think for sure I immediately tried to be like a lot more respectful, like to the
Yeah, and the
servers.
moment
That
like I started majoring, I told mom, like, when you go to a restaurant, don't complain. When you go to hotels, don't complain. Like, don't.
um, but I've never found an incident where I felt like I was so triggered that I had to like complain, like to such a high degree, or be like such a stupid dick.
Like I don't really complain. I only had to complain once
Mm-hmm.
when I went to like a hotel, is because I put the do not disturb sign on, like don't go in my room,
Yeah.
but someone went in my room. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I was like,
That's
why did I put a do not disturb sign
if you're
on my
not gonna even listen
door
to it.
if people are just gonna
Because
barge in
it's
my
not
room?
like you verbally said it. It's a physical sign.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more difficult to not see it, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So I feel like that was also warranted
And
as
also, the
a complaint.
reason that time I complained was it took like almost 2 hours for them to give me an answer.
Ah.
Yeah. I was like,
What was the answer though?
they just didn't see the sign.
Oh.
Well, they could have just said that like straight away. They could have been like, "Oh, I'm really sorry." They're like, "Oh,
We just didn't see
yeah."
it.
You
Yeah.
know, when people go, "Oh, let me follow up," it doesn't mean they're gonna follow up. It just means maybe she'll stop talking about it if I go away
Yeah,
for
you'll
like
forget
an
about
hour.
it. She'll get like amnesia and
I
just
was like,
forget about
I
it
was like,
and not bring it
I was
back.
like, bro, like I've been in this industry for like how long?
Yeah, I know, right? It's like when you have experience in the industry, you know what all the phrases like mean.
Yeah, like
Well, that was a really big sigh.
yeah. Sometimes I feel like I need to like run away secretly and like never come back to this world, but I don't know how to move to
You just
another
live off the
world.
grid. Yeah, I feel like ooh, it'd be difficult for you to go off the grid.
No, I feel like I need to move to another dimension, but I don't know how. I just haven't
You're
figured
gonna
that
bargain
out.
with Dormammu.
I haven't
Dormammu have come to bargain.
I haven't figured that part out yet. Like I don't know how to
You just
move.
need the what stone is it
The
that
Infinity
Doctor Strange
Stones?
has?
He has a
No, but
time
what
stone.
type? Oh, the time stone. You just need
Mm.
that and bargain with Dormammu.
Will he bargain with me or just crush me? Well, if he crushes me,
Well,
oh well, that's too bad. End of life.
you're not gonna do the Doctor Strange thing where you live on the loop.
No, I don't want to live on a loop. Living day
What
to
if he
day is.
feels so much pity for you and he's like, you know what? I'll smash the Earth instead.
I already live day to day like a fly, like a house fly. I don't.
Like a fruit fly.
Yeah, I don't need to relive a day. Thank you.
Oh damn, that was
Unless it's my day
philosophical.
off day that I'm reliving, I'll be okay. But if it's like I have to go to work,
Yeah, so that's when you have to time loop.
oh man,
See, smart.
how complicated is life? Oh my god.
Yes.
But that's life and that's work. Every work has their like every industry has like their own problems.
But anyways, I hope you enjoyed us ranting about how stupid some people are, and I'm pretty sure you can agree
I think we
with
just
how
called
stupid
like
some
half
people
the
are.
world a brain not like a bird noggin to be
Well, to be fair, with all this like technology, natural selection hasn't been able to take place. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, let's just be nice people. How annoying.
Alrighty. Well, you can find us on Instagram and Apple Podcasts and YouTube at Mixing Cultures Podcast.
Oh, and do you want to talk about like the video clip, the soundbite clip? Because now we're up.
Oh,
She totally forgot. She's the one who suggested it, and then she forgot.
so now I've just changed. I don't know if we have to mention it, but I've changed the preview. So now the preview of the sound clip will be up the day that the episodes are live, so you can directly listen to the sound clip, and if you like it, you can listen to the whole episode, and it will be available.
I hope everyone has a wonderful morning, afternoon, or dinner time, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.